The sun was just beginning to dip below the jagged horizon of Aurelia 7, painting the sky in shades of deep orange and violet. On this quiet frontier planet, the winds carried a strange metallic tang, mixed with the scent of tall, silver grasses that swayed like waves in a silent ocean. Jace Harding wiped the sweat from his brow and leaned against the wooden fence that enclosed his small herd of glimmering livestock. Their coats shimmered faintly in the fading light, reflecting the colors of the sky. Jace's ranch had been in his family for generations, though not many could call it a real ranch compared to the green pastures of Earth. Aurelia 7 was unforgiving, wild, and lonely. Every rock, every gust of wind, reminded settlers that this planet didn't belong to humans. Humans had simply made a home here against all odds, and that was exactly what Jace loved about it. He squinted at the canyon in the distance. A soft, otherworldly glow pulsed from its depths, barely visible in the growing darkness. For nights now, he had been drawn to that light, almost as if it were calling him. Most people would have ignored it, told themselves it was just a trick of the light or some strange natural phenomenon. But Jace was different. He had never been one to ignore the unknown. Jace. The voice was soft but firm, carrying a hint of worry. Jace turned to see Mara approaching him, her helmet under one arm and a datapad clutched in her other hand. Her brown hair was tied back, strands falling loosely around her face, illuminated by the dying light. "You're staring again." "I can't help it," Jace said, his voice low. "That light, it doesn't look natural. I've never seen anything like it." Mara frowned. She had been one of the first engineers sent to Aurelia 7 to study its unique energy patterns, strange magnetic fields, and other oddities. "It isn't natural," she admitted. Her eyes flicked nervously toward the canyon. "But that's why I'm warning you, don't look there. Just don't go near it." Jace chuckled, a sound more amused than dismissive. "And if I don't? What then?" Mara's expression hardened. "Then you might not come back." Her words were serious, but Jace could see the hesitation behind them. She wasn't trying to scare him. She was scared herself, and there was something in the way her eyes darted toward the horizon, something that made even him pause. "I've survived worse," he said. "I survived the dust storms of Mars. 1-2. I've faced wild beasts that could crush a human in one strike. A glowing canyon? I think I can handle that." Mara shook her head, though a small, reluctant smile played on her lips. "You've always been reckless, Jace. That's why we keep sending engineers and medics after you." Jace shrugged. "Someone has to explore, Mara. Someone has to see what's out there. If humans didn't push, we'd still be stuck in old colonies, afraid to leave our little zones." Her sigh was soft, almost lost in the wind. "I know. But curiosity can get you killed." He turned back to the canyon. The light had changed slightly now, flickering in a way that made it seem alive. Tiny sparks of blue and green danced across the rocky surface, reflecting in his eyes. "Maybe it's trying to tell us something," he murmured. Mara's jaw tightened. "Or it's trying to kill you. Look, Jace, I've studied this planet longer than anyone else. There are energy anomalies here that no human has ever fully understood. Some of them are harmless, sure. But some..." She didn't finish her sentence. The unspoken warning hung in the air like a shadow. Jace laughed, shaking his head. "You engineers always have to complicate things. Sometimes, Mara, the simplest explanation is the best. Maybe it's just a strange mineral reflecting the sun. Maybe it's beautiful." She frowned, stepping closer. "It's not just beautiful. There's a pattern to the light. I've seen it before in simulations. And it shouldn't exist naturally. Humans. We might be the only ones capable of even noticing it. But that doesn't mean we should touch it." Jace's eyes sparkled. "You're saying humans are special? That's the part I like. I'm just trying to see if we're special enough to understand it." For a moment, Mara didn't reply. She simply watched him, feeling a mix of admiration and fear. There was no arguing with Jace when he was determined. She knew it. He had that fire, the fire that had gotten him into trouble before, but also the fire that had pushed humanity to survive on the harshest planets. The wind shifted, carrying a faint hum from the canyon. Mara's eyes widened. "Do you hear that?" Jace tilted his head, listening. A low, vibrating hum rose from the distance. It wasn't loud, but it was steady, like a heartbeat. "I hear it," he said. "Sounds like energy, something alive." Mara shook her head. "That's exactly why you shouldn't go near it." He smiled, a slow, confident grin. "Mara, if we never go near the unknown, we'll never know what humans can do. If we stay safe all the time, we'll stay small forever." The sun dipped below the horizon, and the first stars began to shimmer in Aurelia 7's twin skies. The canyon's glow became more pronounced in the darkness, pulsing softly as if it were breathing. Jace's heart beat faster. He didn't know what awaited him there, but he knew he had to see it for himself. Mara placed a hand on his shoulder. "Promise me you'll be careful." He nodded, though his gaze never left the canyon. "I always am. That's what humans do best, right? Adapt. Survive. Explore." She shook her head, half in exasperation, half in admiration. "You're impossible." Jace laughed, the sound carrying across the silent fields. For a moment, the world seemed calm, peaceful, but the canyon waited, its glow growing stronger, as if aware of his intent, and for the first time, Jace felt a thrill he couldn't ignore, a thrill that told him his life, and maybe humanity's future, was about to change. As night fully settled, Jace returned to his small cabin, but he couldn't sleep. He kept imagining the canyon, the flickering light, the hum. He wondered if humans were truly ready for what lay beyond the horizon, but he knew one thing for certain. No one would understand it unless someone dared to look. By the time the twin moons of Aurelia 7 hung high in the sky, he had made his decision. He would go, and nothing, not even the warnings of those who cared about him, would stop him from seeing what no human had ever seen before. Outside, the wind whispered through the grasses, carrying the faint hum of the canyon. Somewhere deep within its rocky depths, something stirred, waiting for humanity to finally notice it. And Jace Harding, stubborn, curious, and unafraid, was about to answer that call. The next morning, Jace Harding woke to the familiar sound of his livestock stirring in the pens. The sun had barely risen, and Aurelia 7's twin skies were painted in pale pink and soft gold. But despite the calm morning, Jace's mind was not at ease. His thoughts kept returning to the canyon, to the pulsing glow, and to the hum that had whispered to him through the wind the night before. Mara appeared at the cabin door, carrying her datapad, and wearing a look that mixed frustration and concern. "You didn't sleep much, did you?" she asked. Jace shook his head. "No, I couldn't. That light. It's calling me. I have to know what it is." Mara stepped closer. "I know you do, Jace. But you have to understand, curiosity isn't always safe here. There are energy fields in that canyon we don't fully understand. I've run simulations for months, and, well, some of them don't end well." Jace gave a small, patient smile. "You mean some of them scare humans? But humans have always faced danger, Mara. That's how we survive. That's how we thrive. That's how we make the impossible possible." Mara's frown softened, though she still looked worried. She had seen Jace survive sandstorms that could have buried a human alive, and she had watched him repair failing colony equipment in the middle of radiation zones. Still, she couldn't shake the feeling that this time, his curiosity might take him too far. "You're reckless," she muttered, but her voice carried a hint of admiration. "Reckless or brave. Sometimes the line is very thin," Jace said, running a hand over his stubbled jaw. He glanced toward the distant canyon. The glow had intensified slightly, pulsing in a rhythm that seemed almost deliberate, almost like a heartbeat. "Look," Mara said, lowering her voice. "I've been studying this light for weeks now. I've never seen anything like it on any planet, not in the reports from any other colonists, not in simulations, and that scares me." Something about it is alive, in a way I can't explain. That's why you shouldn't stare at it for too long. Humans aren't supposed to interact with things like this. At least, not yet. Jace's gaze didn't waver. And yet, here we are. Humans have always interacted with things they don't understand. That's how we discovered fire, electricity, even space travel. You want to tell me we stop now because some alien light is glowing in a canyon? Mara opened her mouth, but no words came. She knew he had a point. She had always admired Jace's stubbornness, even if it drove her crazy. Still, she felt the tension in the air. Something about this canyon wasn't just unusual. It was different. The hum returned, faint but unmistakable. Both of them froze. The wind had shifted, and it seemed to carry the sound from the canyon more clearly than before. It wasn't a simple vibration. It had a tone, almost musical, but too low for any instrument she knew. You hear it too, Jace said, a note of excitement in his voice. Mara nodded. Yes. That's what I mean. It's intelligent in some way. But I don't know if it's friendly or dangerous. Jace laughed softly. You always assume danger first. I like to assume humans can handle it. Mara rolled her eyes. But deep down, she admired his optimism. Humans had survived against impossible odds, colonized harsh planets, and adapted to environments that should have killed them. Maybe he was right, maybe humans were capable of understanding something even aliens could not. Jace spent the day tending to his livestock, but his mind was half at the canyon. Every few minutes, he glanced toward the glow, which seemed to change subtly with each passing hour. By late afternoon, Mara joined him again. She had brought her scanner, a portable device that could analyze energy fields and detect unusual electromagnetic activity. Let's just check it, she said. From here. No need to get closer yet. John Rees. Jace nodded. They positioned the scanner on a small hill that gave them a clear view of the canyon. Mara activated the device. Numbers and graphs appeared on her datapad screen. Interesting, she murmured. The energy is unlike anything I've seen. It's not natural. Not in any sense. It's structured. Almost like a code. Jace leaned in, eyes wide. A code? You mean it's trying to communicate? Mara hesitated. I don't know. It could be a signal, a warning, a trap. But the structure, it seems intelligent. It's changing patterns, responding to something. Jace's grin widened. Then maybe it's responding to humans. To us. Mara shook her head, though a small smile tugged at her lips. You really think humans are special, don't you? Absolutely, he said. And if it's trying to communicate, someone has to answer. Someone has to show it. We're not afraid. The sun set, and darkness fell over the plains. Aurelia 7's twin moons rose high, casting silvery light over the fields. Jace and Mara remained on the hill, watching as the canyon pulsed and flickered, the glow now stronger and more rhythmic than ever. The hum was louder, almost as if the canyon itself were alive, breathing beneath the rock and earth. Do you really plan to go there? Mara asked quietly. Yes, Jace said simply. Tomorrow. I have to. Humans were made to explore. That's what we do best. We don't run from the unknown. We face it. That's why we survive. Mara bit her lip. She wanted to argue, wanted to tell him it was too dangerous. But deep down, she couldn't. She had seen humans do impossible things before. If anyone could face the unknown, it was Jace Harding. Night deepened. Jace remained staring at the canyon long after Mara left, his mind filled with possibilities. What was this place? What was it trying to say? Was it a warning? A welcome? Or something entirely beyond human understanding? For hours, he didn't move. He watched, studied, and imagined. The hum seemed to grow stronger, resonating with something deep inside him. He could feel it in his chest, a vibrating pulse that matched his heartbeat. It was as if the canyon recognized him, acknowledged his presence. He realized then that humans had a unique gift. It wasn't just intelligence or strength. It was curiosity, courage, and persistence. Humans didn't just survive, they adapted, they explored, they stared into the unknown, and didn't turn away. That was why he felt drawn here. Because maybe, just maybe, humans were the only species capable of understanding this place. When he finally turned away to go back to his cabin, he knew that the journey would not be easy. The canyon held secrets, ancient secrets older than any human colony, and it would test him in ways he could not yet imagine. But he also knew that stepping back out of fear was not an option. Somewhere deep inside, the glow pulsed brighter, almost as if it were waiting for humanity to notice it, waiting for someone brave enough to answer its silent call. And Jace Harding, stubborn, fearless, and determined, had already made his choice. He would go, he would see, and he would prove, once again, that humans were made to face the unknown. The morning air on Aurelia 7 was crisp and silent, the kind of silence that made every sound feel louder. Jace Harding stood at the edge of his small property, gazing at the glowing canyon in the distance. The soft hum that had called to him for nights now vibrated faintly in the air around him. It was no longer just curiosity, it was a pull he could not resist. Today, he would finally go. Mara appeared at the fence, her brow furrowed, datapad in hand. "Jace, are you sure about this?" she asked, her voice a mixture of concern and awe. "I am," he said firmly. "I've stared at it long enough. I need to know what it is." Humans weren't meant to stand on the sidelines. We were meant to explore, to understand. Mara hesitated. She had trained for years on remote planets, but even she felt a chill walking toward the canyon. "All right. But I'm coming with you," she said after a moment. "I can help if something goes wrong." Jace smiled, grateful. "I wouldn't want to do this alone." They set off on foot, the twin moons of Aurelia 7 casting silver light across the fields. The glow of the canyon grew stronger with every step. The path was rough, strewn with jagged rocks and uneven terrain, but Jace moved with sure-footed confidence. Humans had walked across deserts, scaled mountains, and crossed oceans. This, he thought, was no different. As they approached, the hum became louder, almost like a whisper carried on the wind. Mara paused to scan the air with her portable device. "The energy levels. They're rising as we get closer. It's almost like the canyon itself is alive," she murmured. Jace nodded. "Or it's trying to communicate with us." The closer they got, the more unusual the glow became. It wasn't one simple color, but a mix of blues, greens, and silvers, shifting constantly in intricate patterns. Tiny sparks danced across the canyon walls, as if the rock itself was breathing. Jace reached out instinctively, feeling drawn to the light. "Careful," Mara warned. "We don't know what will happen if you touch it." He didn't touch. Instead, he studied it, letting the hum and colors wash over him. And then, almost without warning, a section of the canyon wall shimmered and became translucent. Behind it, they could see something extraordinary: shapes, structures, and lights that did not belong to the natural world. Jace's eyes widened. It's a device," he whispered. "Some kind of ancient machine. I've never seen anything like it." Mara's jaw dropped. It's huge, and it's built into the rock. How old do you think this is?" Mara. Mara's jaw dropped. Jace shrugged. "Older than humans, I think. Way older. Whoever built this, they didn't expect anyone like us to find it, but maybe they also knew humans would come eventually." They stepped closer. The canyon seemed to recognize them, or at least respond to their presence. The light shifted, forming patterns that resembled symbols, almost like a language. The hum intensified, vibrating in their chests. Mara raised her datapad to record the readings. "This is incredible," she said. "The energy. It's structured. It's intelligent. But I still don't understand it. It's not sending a warning or a threat. It's trying to communicate." Jay smiled, a mixture of excitement and awe. "Then we answer. That's what humans do. We respond to the unknown, not run from it." He studied the symbols on the glowing wall. Slowly, carefully, he reached out and pressed his hand against the smooth, translucent surface. The moment his fingers touched it, a wave of light and sound flowed through him. He staggered slightly but held his ground. Images flashed before his eyes, distant worlds, vast cities, and strange machines that moved with grace and intelligence. Mara gasped. "It's showing you something. It's like a map. A guide. But not just to one place. To many." Jace focused on the visions, trying to understand them. "These aren't just maps. They're instructions, knowledge. Technology far beyond anything humans have ever seen. Energy sources, transportation. Ways to survive on planets we haven't even discovered yet." Mara looked at him, astonished. "Are you saying humans could use this? Understand this?" Jace nodded slowly. "I think we could. But it won't be easy. We'll have to learn, adapt, and work together. That's how humans do it. That's what makes us, us." The canyon responded to his words, the light pulsing faster, brighter. Sparks ran across the walls like tiny lightning bolts, illuminating the intricate machinery hidden within the rock. The hum became a melody, almost musical, as if the canyon were celebrating their discovery. Mara stepped closer, her fear replaced by awe. "It's beautiful," she whispered, "and it's alive, in a way that's hard to explain. I've studied energy anomalies for years, and I've never seen anything like this." Jace smiled, feeling a deep sense of connection. "That's the thing about humans. We notice. We adapt. We learn. And maybe we're exactly what this canyon was waiting for." They spent hours exploring the edges of the device, marveling at its complexity. Mara scanned the patterns and energy fields, carefully documenting everything. Jace continued to study the light and symbols, trying to understand the messages hidden within. At one point, the canyon shifted slightly, and a narrow passage opened before them. It was as if it had recognized their determination, their courage, and had granted them access. The passage led into a cavern filled with more glowing structures, some small, some massive, all humming with life. Jace stepped inside, feeling the hum resonate in his chest. This is incredible. Whoever built this, they left it for someone like us. Someone willing to understand. Mara nodded, her fear completely replaced by wonder. "It's like a library, or a laboratory. But it's alive, and it's showing us everything. All we have to do is learn." Jace ran his hand over one of the structures, and a holographic map projected into the air. Stars, planets, and energy patterns shimmered before them. The canyon seemed to respond to his presence, expanding its projections, giving them more information. "This is it," he said, eyes wide. "This is what humans were made for. Exploration, curiosity, understanding, and maybe survival." Mara smiled. "Finally understanding. We could change everything. This knowledge, it could help humans colonize safely, harness energy, even travel farther than we ever dreamed." Jace nodded. "Exactly. That's why I had to come here. Humans aren't just survivors. We're explorers. And this proves it." They spent the rest of the day studying the device, learning its patterns, and documenting every detail. The canyon glowed brighter and pulsed with energy as if encouraging them. Every new discovery reinforced what Jace had always believed. Humans were capable of extraordinary things, and courage and curiosity were the keys. As the twin moons rose, casting silver light over the cavern, Jace and Mara stepped back to look at the entrance. The canyon hummed softly, almost like it was satisfied. "Tomorrow," Jace said quietly, "we go deeper. We have to understand it fully. This is more than discovery. It's our future." Mara nodded. "And I'll be there with you. But we have to be careful. There's so much we don't understand yet." Jace grinned. "Careful. Yes. But not afraid. Humans were made to face the unknown. That's what we do best." The glow of the canyon seemed to brighten once more, bathing the fields outside in soft light. Somewhere deep inside, the ancient machine pulsed in harmony with their hearts, as if acknowledging their courage, their determination, and the promise of humanity's potential. And Jace knew one thing for certain: this was only the beginning. Jace and Mara returned to the small settlement at Aurelia 7 just as the twin moons reached their peak in the night sky. The air was cool, carrying the faint metallic scent of the planet's winds. Jace's heart was still racing from the discovery. The canyon had revealed something beyond imagination, a device of unknown origin, alive with energy and intelligence, projecting maps and knowledge far beyond human technology. Mara walked beside him, silent for the moment, deep in thought. She had never seen Jace this excited, this certain. But she also knew that the townspeople would not understand. Few humans were ready to believe in such things without fear, and fear often turned to anger. As they approached the settlement, villagers noticed them first. Lights flickered in the small homes, and curious faces appeared in doorways. Whispers spread quickly, carrying the words of the daring rancher who had vanished near the canyon and returned with stories that sounded like fantasy. "What did you find?" Someone called from the crowd, a young man stepping forward. Jace raised a hand. "Something incredible. Something that can change everything for humans here and across the stars." A murmur ran through the crowd, some curious, others skeptical. Jace led Mara to the town square, where a small platform used for gatherings awaited. The villagers formed a loose circle, their eyes fixed on him. Mara stepped beside Jace, holding her datapad. "It's real," she said quietly. "I've seen it too. There's a device in the canyon, alive with energy. It's showing us information, maps, knowledge, and technology far beyond anything humans have discovered." A heavy silence followed. Then, one of the older settlers, Counselor Wren, stepped forward, his face tight with worry. "And you expect us to believe this? A glowing canyon, alive with energy, giving humans information?" Jace met his gaze steadily. "Yes. I know it sounds unbelievable, but humans have always faced the impossible. And we've always found a way to survive, adapt, and thrive. This canyon, it's an opportunity, one that could change everything for us." The crowd was divided. Some whispered with excitement, imagining the possibilities. Others shook their heads in fear. A woman spoke up, her voice trembling. "But what if it's dangerous? What if it's a trap? You could destroy us all just by touching it." Jace shook his head. "It's not a trap. I've studied it. Mara has studied it. It responds to curiosity, not fear. And humans were made to face things like this. We don't run from the unknown. We adapt, we learn, we survive." Counselor Wren frowned deeply. "And if you're wrong? You could bring disaster to this settlement. You could be reckless enough to destroy everything we've built." Jace stepped closer, raising his voice so the crowd could hear. "I understand your fear. I do. But fear has never built civilizations, explored new worlds, or solved impossible problems. Curiosity and courage have. That's why humans survived on this harsh planet, and that's why we will survive beyond it. The canyon is a gift, not a threat." A murmur spread through the crowd. Some nodded in agreement, inspired by Jace's words. Others whispered among themselves, doubt shadowing their faces. One of the settlers, a young engineer named Lyra, stepped forward. "If it's true, if it really gives us knowledge, then it could help us improve the colony. We could learn to harness energy, build better homes, even explore other planets. We can't ignore that, Jace smiled. Exactly. That's what I've been saying. Humans don't back down from the unknown. We face it, and we grow stronger because of it. That's what makes us human. But not everyone was convinced. Counselor Wren shook his head again. I cannot allow reckless behavior to put our settlement in danger. I will not sanction this until we understand it fully. We must proceed with caution. And, Mara spoke up, we've already studied it from a distance. It doesn't harm anyone. And it's intelligent. It's not here to destroy us, it's here to help, if we're brave enough to learn. The counselor's eyes narrowed. Help? Or lure us into danger? I cannot gamble with lives on something we do not control. Jace stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. Counselor, humans are not meant to be controlled. We are meant to explore, to learn, and to adapt. That's our gift. That's our strength. And the canyon, it has chosen to share its knowledge with us. We must rise to the challenge. To the place. To the challenge. The crowd was quiet now, hanging on his every word. Some were afraid, others inspired. But the counselor's face showed a conflict that Jace could understand, fear of the unknown, clashing with the human instinct to rise to opportunity. Finally, Mara held up her datapad, showing the recordings and scans. This isn't a story. The canyon is real, and it's already sharing information with humans. We have proof. Look at these patterns. They're intelligence in action. Counselor Wren glanced at the datapad, then back at Jace. And what if it's too much for humans to understand? What if we cannot handle it? Jace met his gaze steadily. Humans can handle anything when we work together. When we face fear, we become stronger. When we face the unknown, we grow. The canyon is not a test for it, it's a test for us. And I believe we are ready. There was a long silence. The townspeople looked at one another, uncertainty written across their faces. Some were inspired by Jace's courage. Some were paralyzed by fear. But one thing was clear. The status quo had ended. The discovery could not be ignored. Then, a young boy stepped forward, eyes wide. I want to see it, he said simply. I want to learn. Humans can do it, right? A ripple of agreement passed through the crowd. Children, teenagers, and even adults nodded. Excitement and hope overcoming fear. The counselor sighed, realizing he could not stop the momentum. Jace smiled, placing a hand on Mara's shoulder. See? Humans are ready. We've always been ready. We just need the courage to step forward. Counselor Wren shook his head slowly. But there was a reluctant respect in his eyes. Very well. But we proceed carefully. One step at a time. We learn. And we do not take unnecessary risks. Jace nodded. Agreed. Caution. Yes. But not fear. Fear stops humans. Curiosity moves us forward. The town slowly dispersed, some heading home, others speaking excitedly about what they had heard. The air was charged with anticipation. Jace and Mara stood together, looking toward the distant canyon. Its glow now faintly visible, even from the settlement. Mara sighed. You really did it, Jace. You made them believe. Jace smiled. Not me. Humans made themselves believe. I just reminded them who we are. We face the unknown. We explore. And we survive. The twin moons shone down on Aurelia 7, bathing the settlement in soft silver light. Somewhere deep within the canyon, the device pulsed in recognition. It seemed to respond to human courage, rewarding curiosity and bravery with knowledge. Jace turned to Mara. Tomorrow, we take the first team into the canyon. We learn everything it has to teach us. And we show the town that humans can handle more than they ever imagined. Mara nodded. And we'll be ready. Together. Jace's gaze returned to the canyon. The glow was steady now. A beacon of opportunity. waiting for humans to rise to the challenge. "This is it," he murmured. "The start of something greater than any of us imagined. Humans, we've finally found our next step." And somewhere deep in the canyon, the device pulsed once more, as if acknowledging their courage, their determination, and the promise of humanity's potential. The outrage of doubt had passed, replaced by hope and determination. Humans were ready to face the unknown, and for the first time, Aurelia 7's frontier seemed smaller, as if the universe itself had opened its doors to humanity's curiosity. The sun rose slowly over Aurelia 7, casting golden light across the fields where Jace's livestock grazed peacefully. The twin moons had retreated, leaving the sky a vast expanse of warm colors. Today was the day. Today, Jace, Mara, and a small team of settlers would return to the glowing canyon, not just to explore, but to unlock its secrets fully. The settlement was alive with anticipation. Children ran through the streets, their laughter carrying across the fields. Adults spoke in low, excited tones, discussing what the canyon could mean for their future. Even Counselor Wren, who had been skeptical and wary, now walked alongside the group with a sense of cautious hope. Jace stood at the edge of the settlement, gazing toward the distant canyon. "This is it," he said quietly, more to himself than anyone else. "Humans were made to explore, and today, we prove it." Mara approached him, her datapad in hand. "Are you ready?" she asked. He smiled. "I've never been more ready. We face the unknown. We learn. And we grow. That's what humans do. Together, we can do anything." The team set off, moving steadily toward the canyon. The closer they got, the stronger the glow became. The hum pulsed faintly in the air, and this time, it seemed to carry a tone of welcome, as if the canyon recognized that humans were returning, ready to understand, not to destroy. As they approached the canyon walls, the energy patterns shimmered in response to their presence. Mara's datapad displayed intricate readings, fields of energy that shifted and responded to thought and movement. Jace reached out, gently touching the translucent surface. Light ran through his hand, filling him with a warmth that was more like understanding than heat. "It's alive," Mara whispered, awe in her voice. "It reacts to us," Jace nodded. "It's intelligent, and it's waiting for humans to learn." Together, the team followed the canyon's subtle guidance, stepping into the glowing cavern. The device within was vast, more complex than anything they had imagined. Holographic projections floated in the air, displaying distant worlds, energy flows, and alien structures. Symbols shifted in the air, forming patterns that could be understood through careful observation and reasoning. Jace stepped forward, focusing on the largest projection. "Look," he said. "It's showing us pathways, not just for exploration, but for survival. Energy sources we could use, ways to improve the settlement, even maps to planets humans have never reached." Mara's eyes widened. "It's a gift, a tool, and it's offering it to humans, if we're willing to learn." And the settlers marveled at the display. Some hesitated, overwhelmed by the scale of the knowledge. Others leaned in, eager to understand. Children pointed at glowing star systems, dreaming of distant worlds they might one day explore. Adults took careful notes, inspired by the possibilities for energy, growth, and technology. Counselor Rain stepped forward, his usual stern demeanor softened by awe. I didn't believe it at first. But this could change everything. Aurelia 7 doesn't have to be just a frontier planet. Humans could thrive here, and beyond if we understand this." Jace smiled. "Exactly. Humans have always faced impossible odds. We survived harsh planets, wild storms, and threats no one thought we could overcome. And now, we face something even greater. But it's not about fear, it's about curiosity, courage, and learning." The canyon pulsed brighter in response, as if acknowledging his words. Sparks of blue and green danced across the walls, illuminating the faces of the humans who stared in wonder. For the first time, they could feel the full scope of the device's intelligence. It wasn't just a machine, it was a library, a guide, and a challenge, all at once. Jace led the team to the central area of the cavern. Here, the device projected a massive holographic map of nearby star systems, energy grids, and even potential resources. Mara adjusted her scanner, and soon, they realized that the canyon could teach them not just to survive, but to thrive. "This is more than discovery," Mara said. "It's a chance for humanity to grow, in ways we never imagined." Jace nodded, looking at the projections with determination. "We've always been explorers. That's what makes humans special. We don't wait for the world to hand us opportunities, we create them. And this is an opportunity we cannot waste." The settlers worked together, guided by the canyon's subtle instructions. They experimented with energy fields, mapping patterns, and learning how to harness them safely. Children observed, wide-eyed, learning quickly. Adults adapted, taking notes, and organizing their understanding. Slowly, the team realized that the device was teaching them not through force, but through observation, intuition, and persistence. Hours passed, but none of the humans noticed the time. Their focus was total, their excitement growing with every new discovery. They could feel the potential of humanity expanding before them. This was not just technology. It was proof of human ingenuity, determination, and the ability to rise to challenges greater than themselves. Finally, as the twin moons rose high in the sky once again, the device pulsed with a steady, bright light. The canyon hummed in harmony with the humans. And for a moment, the energy felt like it was alive. Celebrating their courage, Jace stepped back, letting the settlers take in the full scope of what they had learned. "This is just the beginning," he said quietly. "Humans have faced the unknown before, and we've always adapted. Now, we have something that can help us thrive like never before. This is the future, and we're the ones who get to shape it." Mara smiled, proud of the team and the humans who had taken part in this moment. "They'll remember this forever," she said, "not just for the knowledge, but for the courage to face the unknown." Counselor Wren looked around at the settlers. "I admit it. I was afraid. But fear doesn't build civilizations. Humans do. And today, I see what humans are capable of. When we work together. When we are brave." Jace nodded, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. Humans are explorers, survivors, and creators. We've always faced the impossible, and we always will. That's who we are. And now, we've proven it once again. The canyon pulsed one final time, its glow spreading across the fields outside, lighting up Aurelia 7 as if the planet itself were celebrating. Humans stood together, united in awe, excitement, and determination. They had faced the unknown, and it had welcomed them. Children laughed, pointing at the projections, imagining adventures across the stars. Adults spoke eagerly about energy systems, exploration plans, and new technologies. And Jace, standing with Mara at the center, looked toward the distant stars. For the first time, he saw the universe not as a threat, but as an open path waiting for humanity to explore. "This is it," he said softly. "Humans were meant for this. Curiosity, courage, adaptation. That's what makes us strong. That's why we survive. And that's why we will thrive." Mara nodded, her eyes reflecting the glowing light of the canyon. "We did it, Jace. Humanity did it." He smiled, feeling the weight of centuries of human achievement. "And the promise of a future yet to come. We're just getting started," he said. And somewhere deep within the canyon, the device pulsed once more, recognizing humanity's courage, curiosity, and determination. It had waited for the right species, and now it had found them. Humans had triumphed, not through force, but through ingenuity, courage, and the unwavering will to explore. The universe was theirs to understand. And Aurelia 7 was only the beginning. As the team stepped back toward the settlement, the glow of the canyon fading into the distance, every human there carried a spark of hope, a sense of possibility, and the knowledge that no challenge was too great when humans faced it together. The frontier planet had witnessed the birth of something extraordinary, a moment when humans proved, once again, that they were not just survivors. They were explorers, learners, and dreamers. They were humanity at its finest, and the stars beyond were waiting.